She's yelling, crying, throwing accusations at you like grenades. Your heart rate, steady, your voice, level, your expression, neutral. And that's when she completely loses it. Why aren't you reacting? Don't you care? Say something. But you stay calm and she spirals harder. Let me explain what's really happening here, because once you understand this psychological dynamic, you'll never lose your cool in an argument again.
Have you ever wondered why is it that women ask men to do something and then they get angry when men actually do it? They tell us to stop approaching them in the street. Then years later, they get mad when men actually do so. They say they want a nice guy, but then goes after Chad and Tyrone, who have a criminal record. Oh, and they still love the man after he beats the living crap out of her. Have you ever wondered what happens when men completely ignore women? Guys, it's your boy Andy Matrix. I'm back with another video here at Angry Guys YouTube channel. And if you haven't heard of me, make sure to follow me on Andy Matrix Gaming. I talk about anime, gaming, Japanese culture, all those things, all those wonderful things. Go ahead and check it out. Click the link in the description to follow me. And also, guys, follow Angry Guy on Rumble because YouTube has become the censor station. And Angry Guy is uploading videos on Rumble that are not allowed on YouTube. So if you want some of that exclusive content, click the link in the description. Follow Angry Guy on Rumble. And also, guys, the economy is falling apart. People have lost millions and millions of jobs out there. Many people cannot find another job. And we are being pushed to be independent and basically to fend for ourselves. When you are unable to find a job, what are you supposed to do except create your own job, I guess, right? And what better job to create than an online business? Right? That's why Angry Guy created the Content Creator Academy, where he'll show you how to create content, build an audience on the internet, and create a digital product to start generating income on the internet, right? Online. And become independent from the 9 to 5, as 9 to 5 jobs are pretty much on their way out. So click the link in the description, check out the Angry Content Creator Academy, and let's get on with the show. So guys, today we are going to react to Psychadept. So this video is really about female psychology more than anything else. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm actually interested in what this guy has to say. That's why we're just kind of like jumping straight into it, and then I'm gonna give my 2 cents on what is being said. So here we go.
She's yelling, crying, throwing accusations at you like grenades. Your heart rate, steady, your voice, level, your expression, neutral. And that's when she completely loses it. Why aren't you reacting? Don't you care? Say something. But you stay calm and she spirals harder. Let me explain what's really happening here, because once you understand this psychological dynamic, you'll never lose your cool in an argument again. The moment you discover emotional composure as masculine strength is the moment everything changes. I'm not talking about being a robot or suppressing feelings. I'm talking about self-mastery, the ability to feel the storm but not become it. When chaos swirls around you but your center holds, you become the lighthouse in her emotional hurricane. This isn't passivity, it's power. It's the difference between reacting and responding, between being controlled and being in control. I had a client whose girlfriend would start fights every Friday night. Like clockwork, he used to engage, defend, argue, apologize. Then he learned to stay calm. One Friday, she starts her usual routine. He looks at her, says quietly, "When you're ready to talk without yelling, I'll be in the living room," and walks away. She followed him, screaming louder. He sat down, opened a book. She lost her mind completely. Why? Because her emotional triggers stopped working. This female irritation as a reaction to lost influence is fascinating to watch. For years, she's learned that certain buttons create certain reactions. Tears equal comfort. Anger equals apology. Silent treatment equals pursuit. It's an emotional remote control she's been using since childhood.
And this is very true. It actually took me a while to understand this. Mainly in my early mid-20s. But yeah, by simply staying calm, just refusing to be pulled into the drama, you kind of like you punish the behavior, right? You punish that current behavior because if if she sees that you are easily triggered, she's gonna keep doing that every time she wants something from you. So the best thing to do is just to not react and just say, hey, whenever you stop yelling, we can talk about this, right? And because that is just female nature. They're driven by drama. They like drama, and the best way to deal with it is to just be kind. I don't want to say like have no emotion, but you kind of have to be really, really, really solid. Be really solid and don't play into the game. You understand what I mean? It's it's a lot. It's very psychological. Very psychological. I forgot what the psychologist's name was, but it really is about the punish and reward behavior system. I might post it up later if I find the name of the psychologist. But anyways, let's keep going.
Then suddenly the remote stops working. The buttons do nothing. The batteries are dead. And she doesn't know what to do except push harder. The provocation as a control mechanism is usually unconscious. She's not sitting there planning, I'll start a fight to test my power. But emotionally, that's exactly what's happening. These conflicts are temperature checks on the relationship hierarchy. Can she still make you dance? Can she still puppeteer your emotions? When you don't perform the expected dance, it triggers primal anxiety. A guy I counselled discovered this accidentally. His wife would needle him about small things until he exploded, then play victim. One day, exhausted from work, he just didn't have the energy to react. She kept pushing, mentioning his mother, his job, his friends. He just nodded, saying, "Okay, I hear you." That's interesting. She literally started shaking with frustration. The tool she'd used for 10 years suddenly didn't work. The psychology of control in relationships runs deep. Many people, not just women, feel secure when they can predict and influence their partner's emotional states. It's a form of power that provides safety. If I can make you angry, I matter. If I can make you chase, I'm valuable. If I can make you apologize, I'm right. Your emotional reactions become their validation. Remove the reactions, you remove their sense of control. This isn't malicious. It's learned behavior. From childhood, many women discover that emotional expression gets results. Daddy responds to tears. Teachers respond to distress. Boyfriends respond to drama. It becomes the primary tool for navigating the world. Then they meet a man who doesn't respond to the tool, and it's genuinely destabilizing. Independence as emotional stability changes the entire game. When you separate your inner state from someone else's emotions, you achieve true psychological independence. Her mood doesn't dictate your mood. Her chaos doesn't create your chaos. Her emergency doesn't become your emergency. This independence communicates maturity and leadership without saying a word. I learned this the hard way. Ex-girlfriend would have these emotional tsunamis, sobbing, screaming, threatening to leave. I'd get pulled into the vortex every time, trying to fix, solve, comfort. One day, during another meltdown, I just sat there, calm, present but not reactive.
Yeah, so this is actually very, very true. This is it's kind of annoying, but it's really all a manipulation game. It's all a manipulation game. And what you have to do, again, is just stay solid. Stay solid. And a lot of dudes that don't figure this out is really guys that were kind of like raised by single mother households, right? They learned this like you would think that they would know this because it's being done to them all the time, being raised by single mothers, but really the ones that know how to stay calm and cool is basically the dudes that are good with girls. Those are the dudes that stay solid through whenever she throws a tantrum and things like that. They stay solid. They stay solid because they know it's just a manipulation game for her to get whatever she wants. That's what it's all about. That's what all the emotions and the tears is about. And again, you just have to stay solid throughout the entire interaction and not get emotional yourself. Okay, and this is the balance between male and female, masculine and feminine. Is that the woman is emotional, the man is like more logical, rock solid, and this is what you have to learn to do. You know, using logic, staying solid. But this generation is not very good at that. Our grandfathers, in the 70s, 80s, 1950s, they were very good at this. Gen X, very good at this. But this is something that a lot of men have lost. They don't really understand. They just think that they have to cater to every single emotion that a woman puts out there. Anyways, let's go back.
She escalated for 20 minutes, then suddenly stopped, exhausted. "Why aren't you upset?" she asked. "Because your emotions belong to you," I replied. The relationship changed that day. Conflict containment as discipline is crucial. When she brings up 10 issues at once, you address one. When she escalates to personal attacks, you stay on topic. When she tries to pull history into the present, you remain focused. This isn't stonewalling, it's boundary setting. You're demonstrating that you won't be pulled into emotional chaos, that arguments will be productive or they won't happen. The subconscious recognition of strength is the paradox. While she's consciously frustrated by your calmness, subconsciously she's recognizing strength. The same composure that annoys her also attracts her. She might hate that she can't control you, but she respects that you can't be controlled.
Exactly, as the guy says, she respects that you cannot be controlled. And again, this is very important to understand this because, while she's being all emotional and you're staying rock solid, subconsciously, like the guy said, subconsciously, she sees that you are confident. And this is one of the reasons why they go after, Pookie and Ray, Chad and Tyrone's, because the Chaz and Tyrone's, the Pookie and the Ray, they don't really care about, they don't really care about her emotions. And subconsciously, this is crazy, but chicks respect that. They respect the fact that you do not behave like her. Okay, and again, a lot of dudes they don't understand this until later on in life. And I started to understand this like midway, like in my early to mid 20s, right? Because when you are, because a lot of us dudes, we are mostly all logic, so then we don't really understand why girls do the things that they do, right? So again, I keep repeating, it's important to stay solid, and it's even more important to stay solid now in these economic times, since especially here in America, people have lost millions and millions of jobs and cannot find another job. And when you cannot find another job, you're gonna have to find ways to, provide for yourself and create your own side hustles to provide for yourself and your family. And what better way to do that than to start an online business? That is why Angry Guy created the Angry Content Creator Academy, where you can learn how to create content and build an audience online and create a digital product to start generating an income and build independence from a job. 9 to 5 jobs are on their way out. You see it, and nobody's protected. Nobody's safe, from government jobs to tech, retail, and nobody's protected. Not myself. I still have a job. But I'm not safe either. This also, nursing, medicine, doctors. Even doctors are driving Uber now that they lost their job. This is serious. This is a serious matter. And yeah, so that's why Angry Guy created the Content Creator Academy to help people create their own side hustles on the internet, create your own digital product, and start earning. It's getting harder and harder and harder out there, guys. So click the link in the description. Check out the Angry Content Creator Academy, and if you sign up, you will get a free guide. So now let's go ahead and continue on with psych depth.
This creates cognitive dissonance that manifests as increased emotional intensity. Watch what happens after these calm encounters. She might storm off, slam doors, give you the silent treatment, but later, often within hours, she'll approach differently, softer, more respectful, sometimes even aroused. Why? Because you've demonstrated frame control. You've shown you're the stable element in the relationship. That's deeply attractive at a primal level. Emotional contagion versus emotional control is the battle every man faces. Most men absorb their partner's emotions like sponges. She's anxious. You become anxious. She's angry. You get defensive. She's sad. You scramble to fix. But this creates a feedback loop where both partners amplify each other's worst states. True composure means recognizing the emotion without absorbing it. A client described it perfectly. I imagine her emotions like weather. I can see the storm, acknowledge the storm, even shelter from the storm, but I don't become the storm. This shift in perspective changed his marriage. His wife still had her moments, but they passed quicker because he wasn't feeding them energy. Breaking the expected emotional pattern disrupts everything. She expects guilt when she cries. You offer presence without panic. She expects anger when she attacks. You respond with curiosity. She expects pursuit when she withdraws. You respect the space. Each broken pattern forces her to develop new strategies, hopefully healthier ones. I've seen relationships transform when men learn this. One couple, married 15 years, constant fighting. The husband learns emotional composure. Next fight, he stays completely calm. Wife escalates dramatically, then breaks down crying. "I don't know how to fight with you anymore," she admits. That vulnerability opened real communication for the first time in years. Male self-possession, as dominance, isn't about dominating her. It's about dominating yourself. When you own your emotions, time, energy, and focus, you establish natural leadership, not through force or aggression, but through unshakable self-control. This is what frame control really means. You set the emotional tone, not through manipulation, but through stability. The female testing behavior never really stops, it just evolves. These emotional challenges are unconscious tests of your steadiness. Can you maintain frame under pressure? Will you crumble if she pushes hard enough? Are you solid or hollow?
Okay, so he's talking about frame control now. I have a lot to say about this because frame control is something that was taught in like the in the self-help space. If you ever read self-help books, if you ever read like a pickup artist book like David D'Angelo, Neil Strauss, Mystery, if you read The Game, or any other dating coach out there, right here in America, they always talk about frame. And it's very important. It's very important to have because it also shows confidence and all of that, the kind of things that the girls look for. But here's the problem with doing that nowadays. The problem with doing that nowadays is that, especially in America, things have gotten so out of control that you cannot use frame when the government gets involved. You cannot use frame control when the government is involved. Okay, especially if you're married, especially if you put a ring on it. Okay, because when you can be accused of anything, then it doesn't matter how much frame you have, right? It doesn't matter how much frame you have. Because at that point, now it all depends on whether or not the law, right? The law or the courts sees you as innocent. That's what it depends on. Okay, and this is one of the reasons why a lot of dudes they stop reading and buying those dating products or going to dating boot camps from David D'Angelo, RSD, or whatever other coach out there on the internet, right? They stop doing that, right? And this is another reason why a lot of dudes don't want to get married, because they know that the law is against them. The law is against it. So it doesn't matter how much frame you have or how confident you think you are. The law can destroy any dude out there. If some chick says that you're guilty, then you are guilty until proven innocent. And before, it used to be you are innocent until proven guilty. That's how it is. That's how it is. A lot of people don't know this. Even to this day, a lot of people don't know this. Or I think more is like they choose not to know. They choose not to understand. You have to willingly ignore the truth of what's happening. Anyways, let's go back to our video.
Passing these tests by remaining stable doesn't just maintain attraction, it deepens trust. She knows she can have her emotional moments without destroying you. A guy came to me after his girlfriend admitted something profound. She said, "I sometimes start fights just to see if you're still strong. When you don't react, I hate it in the moment but feel safer afterwards." This is the paradox. The behavior that frustrates her conscious mind satisfies her unconscious needs. Mutual autonomy as the mature dynamic is the goal. Both partners manage their own emotions without demanding control over the other. This doesn't mean disconnection, it means conscious connection. You choose to engage rather than being pulled in. You respond rather than react. This creates adult relationships rather than parent-child dynamics. The paradox of calmness drives some women absolutely crazy initially. The same composure that frustrates them becomes what they brag about to friends. "He's so steady. Nothing rattles him. He's my rock." The quality that challenged their control becomes the quality they most value, but only after they stop trying to break it. Emotional leadership through steadiness is what most women actually want, despite what they might say. By anchoring the emotional tone, you become the stabilizing force. Your calmness regulates the shared emotional environment. Instead of two people spiraling together, one person holds center, while the other moves through their process. I watched this with my own parents. Mum would get worked up, Dad would stay calm, she'd escalate, he'd remain steady. Eventually she'd match his energy, not the other way round. 40 years married. She once told me, "Your father's calmness saved our marriage hundreds of times." The danger of emotional dependency is what traps most men. They think being a good partner means feeling everything she feels, but this creates codependency, not connection. When you constantly mirror her moods, you lose your individuality and ultimately her respect. No woman wants a man who's just an emotional echo. The neuroscience behind this is fascinating. When you remain calm during her emotional storm, your nervous system actually influences hers through a process called co-regulation. Your steady breathing, slow heart rate and relaxed muscles send signals that there's no real threat. Her primitive brain, always scanning for danger, starts to downregulate when it realizes the alpha, you, isn't alarmed. This is biological, not philosophical.
You know, I love psychology. I love videos like this that talk about the subconscious mind, conscious and unconscious, male, female nature. I love this type of psychology studies, right? And you know what? Everything that he's saying, it does work. It does work. When you are in a place like America or in a Western country, America, Canada, UK, right, the Western world, even these psychological tips are not enough to keep her. It's not enough, right? It's not enough because now, not only do they want like a rock solid, man, an alpha male, but you also gotta have like the six figures, to be tall and to be all this other crap, right? That they're demanding and requesting, right? Just very, very, very unrealistic standards. That's what they have nowadays. It's just these unrealistic standards. And I can understand why some dudes do not want to like get married whatsoever because they just don't want to deal with it. Like, I mean, the video itself from PsychDev, this is like it's a 25-minute video, right? It's a 25-minute video. And so it's a lot more information, but it actually goes deeper than that. If you read enough psychological books, it goes deeper than that as to why, women decide to get divorced, or why relationships don't work and this and that. And that's why like a lot of men, especially the age of like 40, 50, they just decide to go MGTOW. This is why the MGTOW movement exists, especially in the West, is because they just get sick and tired of the mental games. The mental games are exhausting, and you just start to feel like you just can't trust anybody anymore, right? That's how you start to feel like. And that's why men go become a bachelor's or become MGTOW or whatever, is because of these behaviors. Or better yet, the solution has become to just leave the country and go to Eastern Europe or Asia. Personally, I like Asia. I find Asian women to be much less dramatic than American girls. Okay, that's my experience, my opinion. Being with Asian women. But hey, whatever your thoughts are, make sure to comment below, like this video, subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell for future notifications. Guys, this is your boy Andy Matrix. Godspeed.